Hey y'all, it is March the 23rd of 2023, and real quick, I just want to say Alex Jones is typically right about almost everything. You could always see him on BitChute.com if you ever heard of it, or you can go to Rumble where everything's going down, and you can find Alex Jones on Rumble any day you want to. Every day you can find Alex Jones, find out what he's talking about and what he's getting down on. I want to talk about him a little bit later as well, but shout out to him. And also, there is no such evidence on Andrew Tate or Tristan Tate, and I want to see evidence. I ain't got none, and it's been months and months. All right, that being said, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on YouTube because shout out to my YouTube people. That's why I come through, and you already know who you are. All right, and I love the comments and stuff and getting back to you on them. So thank you, and I appreciate you. But you should be on Rumble anyways. In fact, most of y'all probably are on Rumble. I got to say for myself, I go on Rumble a lot. Probably more than YouTube now for my entertainment/informational needs. Go to rumble.com. Right? Download the app. Forget YouTube and stuff, except I come to YouTube real quick because I don't have a lot of time. I want to holler at my people. And I want to talk about a couple of things. There's Andrew Tate, Free the Tates. There's Alex Jones. You might want to give it a listen. But also right here, and I want to talk about certain things. Now, there's a 12-year-old girl that I read about in San Antonio the other day who somebody, while she was in a group of her friends, and I don't know what, maybe they're walking home from school or they're walking to school, somebody tries to snatch her up. And I want to take a look at that here in a second, but in the meantime, I just typed in 12-year-old in San Antonio onto Google, right? And they didn't show me anything about this girl being almost snatched up. But check out what it does say. Family wants to know who deleted their 12-year-old known as the life of the party. And I don't know any details about this. It's the first time I'm seeing this particular incident. But I'm told it takes place somewhat near or into the west side of San Antonio. If you're familiar with the west side of San Antonio, that's enough said, right? Stuff happens. So, a 12-year-old girl is killed in this house, and they're describing it as like a party at her friend's house, and they want to know who did it. You know, it's very interesting because there's a house full of people who did not get deleted, and they likely very well know who did this to this girl. And so, how could you not know by now? I mean, when I'm looking at the timeline, it seems as though days go by and nobody says a mumbling thing. So hopefully, they find some leads on that particular situation. There's also go down on Google and it says a 12-year-old killed, teenager injured following a shooting at the Westside Party. I think that's about the girl, actually. San Antonio police look for suspect who tried kidnapping. See, that's what we want to talk about. 3 days ago, San Antonio police look for the suspect. I don't know if there's any updates on that particular case, but check this out. 2 teens shot, 1 dead after suspected party drive-by shooting 6 days ago. A 12-year-old San Antonio girl is an inspiration for a superhero. That's kind of like something else. All dealing with 12-year-olds, right? There's this San Antonio beating death of a 12-year-old boy who is left to die after getting beaten. And this is all recent, right? It's just dealing with 12-year-olds. Not very recent, actually. That looks like it's about a year old. But a San Antonio boy, 11, finds a gun and accidentally deletes himself in the head. And there's a picture of the alleged couple who beat a little boy and left him to die. Former San Antonio officer charged with shooting a 17-year-old. That was a long time ago and stuff. That's not particularly important right now. But let's see if we can find this again. San Antonio police look for suspect who tried kidnapping 12-year-old. Let's see what they got to say on myessay.com about this. Just the other day, the suspect allegedly tried to kidnap in another area as well. See, that's of note. Allegedly, this suspect had tried to do it before somewhere else and tried to do it again right here. The San Antonio Police Department is seeking tips on an investigation where a man allegedly tried to kidnap teenage girls on Saturday, March the 18th. An attempted kidnapping occurred on the city's southeast side, which is not a very good side to be on, near Southside Lions Park and Highlands High School. Several teenage girls were walking around 2:30 p.m., so this is the most broad daylight it could possibly be, in the 400 block of Villarreal Street when the suspect allegedly exited his vehicle and tried to grab a 12-year-old girl. According to SAPD, police said the suspect attempted to drag the teen towards his vehicle but was unsuccessful after the girl struggled with the man. Thank God. Right? Thank God this 12-year-old girl had what it takes to get away. So officials said the suspect fled the scene in a vehicle, which is believed to be a 2009 or 10 maroon Nissan Murano. Police said the 5'9", 175-pound suspect is a man between 18 and 25 years old, giving you another insight on what's going down here. 25 years of age, brown eyes, brown hair. The suspect in the vehicle, he used the same description in another attempted kidnapping case that occurred at noon on Friday. All right, so that's pretty much all the details that we need to know. And as far as I could tell, they still haven't caught this guy. But I'll explain, like all the stories that we went on before. See, this is why I say collapse. And a lot of people, I don't have to convince them, come through my YouTube channel, they already agree, a collapse. It's going to be a collapse. And for much more than this, but a societal collapse, a civilizational collapse. And not only is it coming, but it already happened. And we're about to feel the reverberations from it. And I want to say a lot, but we don't have that much time. All right, so there's going to be a collapse for a million reasons. There's more reasons than any one of us could count. All right, but here's another just amazing example. See, San Antonio is too big. If you remember those other stories and stuff, all this stuff goes down to include this attempted kidnapping, and the average person in San Antonio are never going to hear about it. Just because there's so much going on, and San Antonio is so big that how could you hear about everything every day? It's just not possible. And got to point out that, a lot of people don't believe in this and that. They don't believe in religion. They don't believe in God, or they don't believe in demons and this and that. All right. San Antonio is too big to the point that it's satanic. It's systematically satanic because can't nobody watch over it efficiently. Right. It is way too big. And all these things happen and we can't do anything about it. And also, San Antonio is so big, you just can't do anything about it. Right? You might not even hear about it. And this is the reason for the collapse. Now, when people like Alex Jones discuss on a daily basis with all these other people the solutions, the satanic nature of what's going on, and the solutions that can be had with some sense that God gave us. I love it when they talk about solutions, and let's talk about it all day, because at one point in time these solutions and these methods are going to need to be implemented at one point in time. But whether we like it or not, between now and then, a collapse is going to happen. The reason is because people in high places, they satanic, certain ones of them, and they mean to bring us down. They're like, you can imagine someone drowning, someone flailing about in the ocean. This is what they are. They're flailing about, and they just mean to cause damage. Like if you were to go and try to save them and pull them out of the ocean of their own sin and their own disgust for themselves, then they'll take you down with them because they're feeling they don't even want to live. But they just want to take you down with them if you only give them the chance. And so what they're doing is that they've taken all the opportunities to sabotage society, and they have done it, even though it's not even going to be very beneficial to them in the long run. But they cannot care. They're not in charge. That's why I bring up demons, because people wonder how could certain people be so dumb. They're not dumb. They can't control what they do. Well, what is controlling what they do? I don't know. It's kind of like they're an avatar. I would suggest, my theory is that demons, you can have demons influence you in certain decisions that you're making during the day, not even realize it. But it seems to me a totally different thing. It's a slippery slope, because at a certain point, not only are demons influencing you, but they could take up over your whole body. It's very dangerous. And they could use your body as an avatar and start doing crazy things, right? For example, San Antonio police looking for this suspect tried to kidnap a 12-year-old girl. My daughter has to be 12 years old as well. 12 years old, that seems to be the perfect age, like, for a person that you might want to snatch up, because they seemingly couldn't do anything against it. I want to say that I know full well, and there's some people out there know full well, what happens after you successfully get this 12-year-old girl, in your vehicle. No, I do know exactly what happens. And it seems quite obvious that if you were to ever get caught, in a world in which I have some say in it, in a world I always suggest that there's some sort of justice which is like not resemblant of this world. You get caught doing this, and it's multiple times it seems, allegedly. You ever get caught doing this and then also convicted for doing this, and you're done. Yeah, you don't have to see the sunset. We don't need you around. We're going to get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you're convicted? Oh, we think you've done this. In fact, we prove you've done this. You tried to snatch up a little girl, put her in your car. Some people would say, oh, that's pretty bad, but not much happened. And so therefore, we got to deal with it accordingly. No, you tried to snatch up this little girl in your car, and we know full well what would have happened had you been successful. So we take you out back immediately. Where's the largest tree? And we're done with you. That's justice. It's not because I'm mad at you or I hate you anyways. It's because we can't afford you. It doesn't even make sense. But in a city like San Antonio, it's so big and it's so fair and it's so this and that. No, we can't even hope for an outcome like this. We can't even hope for justice, because if this guy even gets caught, then he's not exactly going to get a sentence like that I just suggested. No, he's going to get what amounts to be a tap on the wrist for trying to do what we know you tried to do. And that's not even close to justice. I want to point out something else real quick, just while we're on the topic. For example, I don't even have to prove it to y'all. Most people come through, but some people have no idea. All right, some people are very oblivious. But I don't have to prove it to most of the people who come through here how satanic, how inverted, how ungodly is the court system, the everything system. And that's why the collapse. I would love to reform it, and I would love to talk about reform all day. They ain't gonna let us reform anything. They'd rather collapse everything. Here's another example. Gary Glitter headed back to prison. All right, I'm not gonna read the articles, but Gary Glitter, disgraced rocker, convicted child abuser, back in prison 1 month after he got out of prison. Gary Glitter is back in prison, violating probational terms. Gary Glitter is like, if you don't know who this is, I'm not familiar with his music either. Look at this guy. All right. You know what words we want to use for him, right? Not on YouTube, but look at this guy. So you were convicted. You were convicted, it seems, multiple times on doing things with children. So in our justice system, which is satanic and it's very easily provable, A guy who looks like this, and this is a good picture of him, right? They have worse pictures of this guy. A guy who looks like this is let out of jail for some reason. Why? Because he's rehabilitated? He looks like this and he's this old, and we're going to just let him out of jail. He's going to walk around looking like this with the damn scarf on. And one of the first things he's going to do is acquire a computer, go into the computer, start Googling how to get away with stuff. That's the first thing he's going to do. And that's our justice system. That's how satanic it is. Oh, he's got to go back to prison now and do this whole process over again because we have no justice in America. I don't know if I think it's in the UK, but it's basically the same thing. Because there ain't no justice in the UK. All right, he would have been dealt with not because we hate this guy, we can't afford this. We just never could have afforded this. By God, we can't afford this. All right, so I just wanted to talk about that real quick. And basically, that's the whole point of what I wanted to talk about tonight, I believe. All right, it's satanic. It's out of our control. It was built in such a way that there is no justice. Let's get up out of here. But before we get up out of here, I want to mention that I read an article or two about this 12-year-old girl. And according to reports, she is having trouble sleeping at night. And she's apparently having nightmares. And could you blame her? Ever since this happened, why? 'Cause she ain't going to even get no justice. Her spirit knows that. And it's how this lady's going to have to grow up. It's knowing full well that it's not going to be no justice anyways. I mean, so in a world that we controlled, say after a collapse in which things need to be built because of such satanic figures, it's all been destroyed. And they've destroyed themselves in the process. They've taken many lives with them. However, they're not going to take everybody's life. What would happen after that is if there was ever a person and he dared to just snatch any child, you're not related to this child, you don't know this child, we caught you, you're trying to snatch her up and put her in your vehicle, she can't sleep now, she's having nightmares, we catch you and you're done. There's not even a question about it. We start getting implements for a barbecue together and stuff. We're going to have a good time on Sunday and celebrate this. You're done. And this little girl's not going to have no nightmares. She's going to feel just very comfortable in the environment we make in which there's actually justice instead of an environment like this, which is completely satanic, and that's why it's going to collapse. All right? I'll holler at y'all with some more stuff, I got some things to do behind the scenes and stuff, so I'll holler at me in the comments and stuff. We're going to Rumble. Tell me how much you love Rumble in the comments, or tell me if you plan to go to Rumble and stuff, because just as soon as I get a little bit of so-called money, I want to go live on Rumble, because that's what everybody's doing. That's what everybody and their mama is doing, going live on Rumble. And I would suggest it for yourself. You got a little bit of money and stuff, forget this whole YouTube thing. It's already YouTube's ran by Gary Glitter, right? I'll holla.